So what we're going to do is, using our knowledge of calculating the area of rectangles and squares, we're going to calculate the area of compound shapes, which can be made up of two rectangles or more. So what you can hopefully see is that I have drawn out a shape here, for example 1. I've actually drawn out the exact same shape. So I'm going to show you that there's not just one way of doing these questions, and they should, no matter which way you do them, they should come out with the correct answer. Okay. The first thing we need to do is split this shape up into sections that we can actually calculate, and that's why I mean there's two different ways of doing it. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to split it here, and hopefully you can see that there is a rectangle here and a rectangle here. And if I was to calculate the area of that rectangle and then that rectangle and then add them, we're going to get to the correct answer. But just to show you that we could also split the compound shape here. Do that in a different color maybe. And I could call that 1 and that 2. Hopefully then you can see if I calculate that area and that area separately and add them together, then they will also get the same answer. But before we get there, we're going to have to fill in some sides. Okay? Did this a little bit with compound perimeter. So I'm going to need to know these missing sides. So let's just fill them all in. This length is 15, and this length is 3. 15 minus 3 is going to be 12 centimeters. If this length is 9 and this length is 2, that means that's going to be 7 centimeters. That's all of the sides. So we've got 12 centimeters and 7 centimeters. Okay, so let's now work out the areas. You need to be a little bit careful here. Let's do area 1. Thinking that it's length times breadth. So it's the two sides of that specific rectangle, which in this case are 2 and 3. So we do 2 times 3, which is 6 centimeters squared. So that's that one done. And now we need this one. 9 is the entire length from here to here. That's not what we need because that's part of two different rectangles. What we need is this 15 and this 7. So that's area 2 equals 15 times 7. It's a bit more complicated, that one, so we just do it the side. 15 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. 105 centimeters squared, which means that our total area, so that was shape 1, shape 2, so area of total will be 6 plus 105 equals 111 centimeters squared. Now what I should hopefully happen is that if I work out these shapes, it should still come out to be 111 centimeters squared. So let's do area 1. Length times breadth, so it's going to be 3 times 9, which is 27 centimeters squared. And then area 2 is going to be 7 times 12. Seven times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7. 8. So then the area of the total will be 27 plus 84. So 84 plus 20 is 104, plus 7 is 111 centimeters squared. Okay, so when it comes to doing these questions, you can just do it one way, but it means that you might not necessarily do it the exact same way as somebody else. But as long as you get the right answer, I'm fine with that. I'm going to do another example. And what I'm going to hopefully show you is that, like I just said in the previous example, it doesn't matter ultimately which way you get to the final answer. But what might happen is there might be a more sensible approach. Okay, you're trying to minimize the work that you're doing. Okay, so let's firstly split up this one in a way. Let's hopefully see that we've got 1, 2, 3 rectangles that we'll be able to work out. But also, we could split this up here. And we've got 1 and 2. So in this case, you've got to do 3 calculations. In this case, you've got to do 2. So it's looking at the question and thinking, how can I make this easier for myself? But anyway, before we get onto that, let's fill in all the missing lengths of the sides. Okay, you can see that these are the same size. This is 27 and this is 5. So these two sides must, that plus that plus that must add up to 27. 27 take away 5 is 22, which leaves 11 centimeters on either side. And you can see that these are not to scale. That must be 3 centimeters because that's 3 centimeters. And if that's 10, that's 10 centimeters. So I'll fill them in for the rest of it, for this one. Okay, so let's do this one. So area 1 has got to be 10 and 11. We're ignoring the 27 right now because that's the measurement of all 3 of those rectangles. 10 times 11 is 110 centimeters squared. Area 2 is going to be 5, and then if you see here, it is all of this distance plus this distance. So it's not one of these measurements, but if we can just see that that's 10 and that's 3, which means that that is going to be 13 centimeters. So we're doing 5 times 13, which is going to be 65 centimeters squared. And then area 3 is going to be 11 times 10 again. There's 110 centimeters squared. So the total area will be 110 plus 110 plus 65. So that's 220, 285. So we got to the right answer, but let's do it a different way and see if it was which one's quicker. Okay, so let's do area 1. We've got 5 and 3, which is 15 centimeters squared. And then area 2, which is going to be 10, and again we don't have that measurement here, but we do have it here, which is going to be 10 times 27, which is 270 centimeters squared. So the total area will be 15 plus 270, which is 285 centimeters squared. So you can hopefully see that they both got to the right answer, but this way was significantly quicker. Okay, but as long as you're getting the right answer, I'm not too worried. Okay, and that's compound area.